I am usually reluctant to engage in giving energy updates, but this one felt meaningful to share, especially with the cosmic shit show that we are going through at the moment. The eclipse that is coming, the Mercury retrograde that we're going through, and even spring itself, at the very least in the northern hemispheres. There's just a whole bunch that is moving externally and, of course, as well internally. And it felt appropriate to come up here and to just offer. First, um, the energetic material that we get to deal with on a collective level and how that can translate to you on an internal level. And also the highest invitations, because in my opinion, every single cosmic experience, every single human experience, um, even the darkest ones, can happen to have a highest purpose, a golden shadow. And when we are willing to embrace it, there is actually gold in the dirt that we get to reclaim as well. So I want to start with that context. There's all of this going on, and with the eclipse coming, there is usually two main I want to say collective trends that you may observe. On one end, there's the freaking out that you might be happening. You may observe that within yourself or also outside, especially. So many people that might be relating to it with quite a bit of apprehension and fear and negative expectation. The energy of like, oh, we're gonna get fucked kind of thing. And it makes sense, let's witness that and observe it as well. And on the other polarity, there is just the sheer beauty of the cosmic experience. And what usually happens is like we want to see it. It's a rare phenomenon, a total eclipse. So when it happens, we just want to see it. So it's really, I want to stay cool to notice the two tendencies that are there. One is the polarity of just like freaking out, especially energetically, cosmically. You might feel that within yourself or what is going to happen. And on the other side, it's just the marvel, the beauty of an experience that would be seen as dark. So there's sheer beauty in that. But there's also something on an energetic level that might be happening. Usually when it's springtime, we have this kind of collective momentum of like wanting to put a whole bunch of things in motion and it's renewed life. And that momentum can happen to feel a little bit stunted right now. And that is something on itself to learn how to relate to in an appropriate way for so many reasons. Because internally you might be sensing that the pull that you often have to put things in motion to create might not necessarily be there. And I want to say that's also appropriate for many reasons. But before getting there, when you notice that the pull is not there, it can create so many different things. The first thing is, feeling of powerlessness, feeling like it's almost like you have this engine that you want to start and it keeps stalling. It's not really starting. And you start freaking out. You wonder what is really going on here. It can create a sense of powerlessness. The other thing is like disillusionment to a certain degree because you had an expectation. There's something that you were pursuing, and it's not really what you're experiencing. Despair, and also a sense of discouragement. Just really feeling down because you don't get to experience the energetic drive that you often have. So it's definitely important to just note and observe this collective disappointment because usually when spring comes, there is this urge to move forward, to do things, to put things in motion, to start um movements, if you wish. So with that being said, these I want to say shadow experiences or um dark experiences of feeling beat down and discouraged. It is important to bring some perspective in there because these this eclipse energy has a unique vibrational taste to it, a vibrational flavor. I'm going to put it that way. And that vibrational flavor, I wanna call it the dark benevolence. I really want to call it the dark benevolence of the universe. Because usually when you pray for rebirth, don't be surprised if what you receive is a fire. And in this case, I want to talk about a forest fire. Because it feels like this energy that we're experiencing, this eclipse in the sign of Aries, it feels like it's bringing in the vibration of a forest fire, but a controlled one, or at the very least, a fire that wants to be controlled. And I want to really dive deeper into this analogy. Um, why am I talking about a forest fire? For many reasons. When you look at some um, traditions in agriculture, usually forest fires are used to clear a whole bunch of land, to get rid of decaying material that would take usually a whole bunch of time, maybe so many different seasons to just go through the process of like composting and um, getting back to a place where the raw material can be used by the earth to produce new crops or something like that. So there's a benevolent purpose in forest fires. And usually these forest fires, the controlled burns, they tend to happen after a cooling season, maybe at the beginning of spring, because the fire we don't want to have fires in the mist in the middle of summer, for example. It could go completely wild. So it feels like this energy has a little bit of that flavor. A forest fire that is coming up immediately after a cooling season. It's almost as if the snow cleared and you start realizing, holy crap, there is a lot more decay on the ground that you thought than that you expected. A lot more than you expected. A lot more unfinished business from the previous seasons. And maybe that unfinished business had been accumulating for a while. And now it's time to take care of it. And there is nothing better than sometimes there's nothing better than a good fire to kind of burn it. So this eclipse almost gives you the impression of dark flames. The dark flames that have a higher purpose to clear the shadow, to clear what is eclipsing the capacity of the land to actually give birth to new crops. If we take the inner analogy, it would look like on an internal level, this eclipse is also an inner eclipse. And it also plays the purpose of revelation. There are two purposes there. It's like revealing what had been eclipsing your inner sun, and also starting that inner fire. What can that look like? Having to clear unfinished business. A lot of unfinished business that can look like ancient pain. It can look like things that need to be cleared in relational issues. It can look like something that needs to be taken care of before you can start that new venture, whatever that venture is. It can look like a clearing. It can look like something that literally needs to be burned. And so that you can begin the new journey that you want to embark on. And the term burning here, it's really important because here's something that often happens when we want to get rid of unfinished business. We just want to get rid of it. It's almost like we take something here, we put in the garbage. So there's a transfer. There's a transfer of like, I am going to take it away from here and I'm going to put it somewhere else. This is usually what we do when we just clean. But this wants to transform. It is not just about cleaning. It's not just about moving dust from point A to point B, which is usually what we call cleaning. We take it, we put it in a garbage bin, we put it outside. No, it's more than just that. It wants to take it and return it to the very nature of the fabric of life itself. It's almost like if we are in a carbon-based universe, like most life is carbon-based on Earth. This kind of fire brings it back to carbon so that it can actually be repurposed for new life. So it's not just about shifting position. It's more than just that. And on an internal level, it's also a return to the very fabric of life. And it seems like fire has the beautiful capacity to be able to do that. So this is the I wanna share what I think, in my opinion, um, it's 8 attributes or 7 attributes. I don't know how many I have there, but I'm gonna do the best I can to convey them that have the potential to help you move through this season with a lot more grace, a lot more ease, because I truly believe that it's possible to go through this season with a lot more grace and ease. The key word in this whole thing that I'm sharing with you is benevolence, dark benevolence. Everything that looks dark is not negative. Everything that looks dark is not necessarily scary. And there's an invitation here to engage with it. It's like there's an invitation to engage with the fire. It's like the universe is starting the fire and it's inviting you to engage with it. It demands that kind of like proactivity. And it demands as well that you put things in the fire, but the things that are decaying in your life, that you really take time to explore what is decaying, what could be used to for transformation here. Those are the questions that could be profoundly necessary during this time. So I'm going to share with you these perceptions. And the first one, the first distinction that I really think would help you go through this with a whole lot more grace and ease. I said it already. Everything that looks dark is not negative. Even within your shadow, there's golden shadow. You only find gold in the dirt. So everything that looks dark is not negative. So there is this energy of dark flames, dark fires, and I have the the sensation or the sense, and in my opinion, at the very least, it's an invitation to take something that was decaying and to turn it into something that can now be benevolent. And there can be a little bit of dark smoke that gets released. Yes, you know, but maybe that is actually serving new life. That's the first distinction that, in my opinion, is really important. The second one is in a world that is highly deceptive, transparency is currency, is a new currency. Revelation is actually one of it is benevolence at its finest. And revelation is like seeing what you weren't able to see. There is a little bit of an oxymoron that you might actually be able to see clearly in during an eclipse because the sun is kind of like hidden. So there's this oxymoron there, which is what if the eclipse is actually playing the role of revelation, a new form of revelation? And what if you were in a space where, there was a certain light that was blinding you, and now you have the capacity to attune a little bit to the shadow and to see what was there. So that's a second perception. The third one is don't be afraid of being afraid. I know that's a big one to ask, but we are usually scared of being afraid. But with revelation, there is often disillusionment. We often see things that we didn't want to see, things that were there that we couldn't see, maybe. So a warrior is somebody that is not afraid of being afraid. And that's the ultimate skill of the warrior. There's that awakening slash recalibration of that archetype. It's like leaning into fear, embracing fear, bringing light to fear, and seeing what are the undarkened potentials within you that want to be seen, that want to be revealed. The fourth one would be engage with the fire. I think I said that before. The universe started the fire. The eclipse is a cosmic event. But that now there's an invitation to actually engage with it. And what does engaging with it means, it's like be proactive. It's like if there's something that gets revealed, ancient pain, it's like how can you meet it with an open heart? If there's unfinished business in a relationship that gets shown up, like a relational issue that appears, how can you engage with it instead of stepping back and withdrawing? So that on itself is asking of us to step away from withdrawal. So I'm inviting you to explore what that looks like for you. And the fifth one is the spring cleaning. There's usually a spring cleaning that we go through after winter. This one is not just about spring cleaning. It's actually a spring burn. What I mean by that, I said it before. Instead of taking material and putting out, maybe giving away to somebody else, trying to take things that you're not going to use and to give it away to somebody else. What would it look like for you to go to embrace the process of transformation, which is don't give it away. Don't just put it in the trash and don't just like create a pile outside and you think the pile is going to go away. It really feels like this specific kind of energy wants to burn things down, but it really wants to burn things that are no longer of any use in the way they are. It wants to accelerate transformation. And that is the possible that is the opportunity that is here, the acceleration of the transformation of what is no longer needed. I really feel like that's the golden opportunity here. It's like, what would it look like for you to actually take things and to put in the fire? And to take things that have been, maybe you had already piles of things that, okay, this is a tomorrow problem. Feels like this eclipse is like bring it to the fire. And I'm inviting you to reflect on what it looks like for you to bring it to the fire. The sixth one is, yeah, extract the essence. And the essence might be wisdom, because when you look at the work that fire does, it brings things back to the core essence of matter, which is, we live in a carbon-based universe. I hope I'm not saying something stupid here. I think so. Oh, we live, most life on Earth is carbon-based. So let me correct what I said. We live on a carbon-based universe. Most life on Earth is carbon-based. It's like bringing things back to carbon, and that can be reused by the natural cycle of life to create something new. So the invitation, in my opinion, here is therefore extract the essence, extract the wisdom out of it, extract the light out of it. There is light in there. Can you see it? Are you willing to see it? That's the personal practice for me at the moment. A seventh distinction is honor the pace of the fire. It is really important, in my opinion, to not create artificial fires. It's like this fire has a purpose of its own. It's to burn what is decaying. So it doesn't need any extra fuel. It doesn't need you to kind of like turn it into an artificial fire, because it can eventually, that means maybe adding some fuel or gas in there for it to burn more than what it's supposed to burn. Let it be a natural process. Because if you really look at a forest fire, if you try to kind of like fuel it too much, it can become a uncontrolled fire that will burn the whole town or to burn the whole forest. But that's not really the intention of this fire, in my opinion. So what would it look like to honor the pace of the fire, to not turn it into an artificial one, to not try to burn more than what it's supposed to be burned, to really honor the pace of what this fire wants to create in your life? And the last one, the last distinction, I would say compassion is the antidote. Compassion is what brings grace. Compassion is going to be the one thing that allows you to relate to the whole experience. Compassion for yourself and even compassion for others with the whole new degree of grace and ease, you know, I really believe that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, especially psychological suffering, which is the dramatization of pain. It's like we keep dramatizing and dramatizing and dramatizing. Yes, there's going to be pain part of the equation, but can you approach it with an open heart? Can you witness somebody going through something that hurt and also extend that to them, that compassion, even if it's just a thought, because we often underestimate the power of a benevolent thought form for yourself or for somebody else, which in my opinion is no different than a prayer, a benevolent thought form. So these are the key distinctions that, in my opinion, could create a whole lot more grace, a whole lot more ease for you in this journey. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Let me know which ones or what aspects resonate with you the most. And my prayer for you, or intention for you, or benevolent thought form for you is that you go through this experience with a degree of ease and grace that you didn't think or believe would be possible for you. But whatever transformation wants to happen in your life happens at an unprecedented level of ease, and that the outcome may be ignited love for life, ignited drive. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon.